All right, so the tournament, obviously, well, we get a couple games tonight, but it's kicking off. And so we are thinking ahead for the NBA, always trying to fix things. Guys, we're going to talk about what if the NBA did what the NCAA does. No conferences, just the top 16 teams battling it out. Here you go. 1 through 14 automatically get in. Top 8 teams, home court advantage. Everybody that's between 15 and 20 will play a play-in style tournament for those last 2 spots. First round, 5-game series. The rest is 7-game series. We can wrap our heads around that pretty easy. Lou, I know how much you love this idea. Tell me why it's awesome.
I think the awesome part of it is you get some matchups that you're not accustomed to having. You could see some different games, different teams play in different markets at a different time of year. I think the cons to that is going to be the travel, and that's going to be one of the worst parts about it. Like if you're in a bad spot in one of these brackets where you got to travel across country 3 or 4 times, you know, there's a reason why you have the East versus West, and you have the format that you have now. It's to factor in the travel. You know, in the finals, you have that 2-2-1. How does it go? 2-2?
2-2-1-1-1. Before it was 2-3-2.
He's the champion. You gotta talk to the champion. Yeah,
I've been lucky. I've been there.
Gotta talk to the champion. Yeah. Respect is respect. And so you have that format for the finals. Now you're looking at this format. You can possibly be a West Coast team can play Orlando. The next round they could play New York. Next round they could possibly play
maybe.
Who knows? You know, but that'll be the biggest thing. You will have some matchups, but I don't know about the quality of game. That would be my pushback because of the travel.
I didn't like it at first, but I got to give a big shout out to Conrad, one of our producers. He really had a great pitch and talked me into it.
He really did.
I like it.
He talked me out of it.
I like it. I like it a lot more now because I feel like, I mean, naturally,
it's amazing.
The cream is going to naturally rise to the top.
Yes.
So the first round, you'll do more of the travel, but in the first round, you have more days in between because there's so many games. You'll have, 3 or 4 days so groups can travel. When it gets to the next round, there'll be less teams. I think when you're probably if the West is stronger, the more the West teams will advance. So you'll end up playing Western Conference teams, and vice versa. So I do like to mix it up. If you want to see something different, I'm with that. Because there was a series. I don't know if you were there, but the West was so strong. We were in San Antonio. We went from a 2 seed to a 7 seed. We lost our last game of the season. We ended up playing the Clippers in the first round.
See?
Which should have been a Western Conference Finals type of matchup. We lose in 7 games. CP hits the game.
I remember I cried. I left the building crying.
I wasn't happy about it either.
See, now it's starting to make sense.
Yeah, it was a single tear.
Now it's starting to make sense.
So avoid that type of situations where you're having these first round matchups where you rather see in the Western Conference Finals or at least a second round. I think this makes it, a little more interesting. So
and also
I
in the
do
East,
like it a lot.
In those bottom teams, you've got losing records, right? And then you've got teams in the West with winning records that won't even get to sniff a playoff game simply because of where they happen to be. Come on, Lou.
I love the basketball.
But Lou, you're worrying about things that could happen.
No, yeah, that's what you should do.
But you're acting like you're flying Spirit Airlines.
So we're doing glass half full.
What's happening?
Now, I know you and I are not going to talk flying on live air right now.
Look, I can still do my job on Xanax. A lot of people know that.
Yeah, I like the basketball aspect of it.
Look at that.
I think you can get some great matchups out of it, and you can get something different. That speaks to the NBA. Like, are we gonna do another gimmicky thing where at some point somebody's going to crash out and it's not going to be a thing? The first time that a team loses a game, they got to fly 6 hours across country from LA to New York. You're going to have a head coach up there crashing out about the travel and his guys being exhausted.
You have time. You're not landing and playing. You've got a day or maybe 2, depending on the
first round. They have a couple days.
Yeah, and then still in those 42 hours, no matter what, I still got to fly back. I still got to fly back, and in another 42 hours, I got to fly back if this thing goes 7 games.
Throw that up there again. How many of those issues would actually come? Because you're worrying about things that could happen, like right there, or at the top, what you have.
Why wouldn't I worry about things that could happen? We're talking about the positives of things that could happen. It's pros and cons. That's part of it.
You got to put the could happens in there.
It's pros and cons.
But not if it's what venue pros and cons it.
How often or how likely it would happen where that schedule would be that bad. But the first time it does happen, they'll figure out a way to change it. But I think you're just less likely. So the cream will naturally rise to the top.
Okay, but the playoffs already take 2 months. We have 2 freaking months of NBA playoffs. So
Hey,
you've got time built in.
You get rest in the playoffs. So
you don't have
focus
to,
on one team, and it's
you extend each day. Like on a travel day, you get 2 travel days, so you don't have like the normal one. I'm telling you,
that's normal.
This is
That's a norm. That's a norm for the finals or for the first and second and third rounds. You have 2 days worth of travel where they give you, but you'll still play a game, and then you have a day in between, play another game, and then you have the 2 days. Those 2 days look a lot different across country, 6 hours away from home. So again, we're talking about the pros of it. We're talking about the cons of it. I like the basketball aspect of having some matchups that you're not accustomed to seeing. But at the end of the day, we're talking about after an 82-game season where, worst case scenario, you can possibly put yourself in a position to be flying cross country for a month straight.
Milwaukee to Denver, first round. Like, that's not a bad flight?
Not at all.
So bad. And that's 2 conferences.
Not at all. I'm talking, this is right now. And all of this can change within 3 weeks, and you'll have a completely different thing. So right now, sure, this looks good on a graphic, but if you do this year after year after year, somebody is going to get screwed at some point, and they're going to have to fly across country or do some of these matchups week in and week out for 4 to 6 weeks.
I've never felt stronger about anything in my life.
I respect
this would be amazing.
You said it's not Spirit Airlines. I don't care how nice that plane is. You're going to have to get on it every 48 hours for a 6-hour flight.
No, but we're going to give you a longer, we're going to give you an extra day.
It's going to be 48 hours.
It's
going to be 72 hours.
The fan side of me loves it. I know the basketball player side of me is, if I had to do it, I'd be like, man, I don't know.
And I can only speak to what I know.
All the people that bitch and whine about product, tell me that that's
none of them have played a basketball game, so it don't matter. None of them have played an NBA basketball game.
Don't you want to make
Lou's
it the best
probably
version?
right, but the fan side of me says, you know what, I want to see some East versus West earlier on.
This would crush.
Yeah, the basketball side,
viewership,
I'm down for it. But if you're one of the people getting on those planes and preparing for these games, I got to speak for those people as well.
I mean, it was already bad enough because there are some cities that are easier and harder. Like, you don't look at it from the media standpoint because they don't get to get on a charter. They have to figure out ways to get from Cleveland back to San Francisco
Southwest.
over and over again where you have to connect.
So imagine those people as well.
No, they would vote for this.
They'll figure it out.
God, I want this so
They're going to have to figure it out.
I would trade people's lives for this. We're going to take a quick break. More Run It Back on the other side.
Run it back.